If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. Man, we got stuff going on between Sweet 16, first 4 games last night, 4 more tonight. Going to get to the Final Four before the end of the weekend. LSU baseball wins the opener in comeback fashion. LSU women's basketball team, they got a Sweet 16 game with NC State tonight. Jimmy, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing much better.
Much better? Okay.
Yes,
I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. So
I noticed the
Otterlocks rebound. Yes.
Southeastern Conference theme?
For early games, get the alert on your phone. I don't know how mine is alerted, but mine's alerted. So however you do that, Max, they Hunt posts it, and it puts it up for the early games. But then you also have to listen because, I didn't have the total on the Alabama game, and that was my favorite play last night. And so
not much of a sweat there.
No.
7 minutes to go. They go over the total of 177.5.
It was basically a shot. Basically a possession, a shot, a free throw, a field goal attempt, or a pair. I'm not counting like a trip to the free throw line as 2 possessions. I'm counting that as 1. Because it's 1 trip to the line. Okay, you either get a shot or you get a trip to the line. Not counting the end ones. It was less. It was about every 13, 14 seconds. Mm-hmm. I mean, these two teams, and they don't play defense either. So, there's a lot of easy buckets, but it was just the pace of play was crazy. And, of course, now they were hot, too, So and don't we have the best deal? Because Duke looks like the best team, are they? Are we ready to say that past Florida? This Cooper Flagg. Tell me one time last night where he made a poor decision. He just doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
When does he bring the ball court and he tries to make a pass or a dish and he never does the wrong thing.
Even
his feel is unbelievable, man.
The flurry at the end of the first half. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's Arizona's got to be better than that. They can't give him that chance.
They can't give him 3.5 seconds, which is essentially what he had when he gathered.
He's releasing it with 2.
Yeah, exactly.
More than that, huh?
Not much. I was going to say 3.8 or maybe 4.2. He gets the ball and he gets it across half court and he lets it go, and they score. The ball goes through the hoop at the horn. Everything was timed exactly perfectly for him. So instead of it being a 1-point game at the half or even a tie game, it's a 6-point game.
Yeah, it would have been 3. Caleb Love missed the 3 with 7 seconds left.
Okay, so when does he actually gather the ball in his hands? Probably somewhere around 4.
5 seconds.
I think you're a little short.
I'm off
on
a
that.
second.
It was a bit early.
Charlie, he released it. It's gone with 2.
Okay.
It's gone with 2.
That's pretty good timing.
And, he had the guy on the wing, too, that was open as well. That could have got a shot off also. But he and look, the big for Arizona, he did not, totally sag. He stopped at the 3-point line and got fully extended. I froze it on the DVR to see it. It is it's his elevation on that jump shot too was beautiful, but he's so much more effective as a passer. I mean, because you got to respect him when he's attacking you, and he loves. I mean, he's got the no look, he's got this peripheral. It just never. That's why I say they're the toughest out. I just think they're the toughest out. Florida, they're certainly more battle tested, but this he's the best on the court, and he makes everybody around him better. The other thing, they don't miss free throws. I mean, Knipple makes every free throw. Every free throw. Yeah, so
he shoots 91%. It seems like
he shoots 91%. Okay, that's pretty damn good.
It seems like he shoots 109%. It's got to be close. He feels like he shoots 104% from the line.
But here's the thing: did Alabama show us that they're capable of beating anybody last night?
Yes.
Okay, so that's the thing. I mean, so there you. That's all we can. As much as we whined and complained about, Cinderella's dead. If not, she's battling with one hand behind her back in the first 2 days of the tournament, the first weekend of the tournament. Man, you got some great games, man. Texas Tech's just not quite at their top form of what they've been for most of the season. And part of that is they're out there, their second lead scorer is not dressing out.
Yeah.
So it's, just how many times you go into with some of the Duke's better teams, they said the other team doesn't have a chance, And Bama's got a chance. I think that's for sure. Right?
Bama's got a chance. Duke's going to defend them a hell of a lot better. I don't expect that they'll shoot fifth than BYU. Yes.
How? I heard Duke. They said they applauded Duke's defense. Are their numbers good? Because you thought. I mean, how many did Arizona score last night?
93.
Is that good? Is a good defensive team give up 93?
I'm not saying they're good. I'm saying that
they're
I've
better. Heard that.
And I'm saying that they're going to defend them more than BYU.
Oh, you can't be much worse than BYU. I'll say that.
If Alabama shoots 50% from three-point range and takes 50 shots doing it, which is what they did last night, then God bless. You go to the Final Four, okay? I don't expect them to shoot 50% against Duke from three-point range.
We don't expect them to shoot 50% against anybody.
No, you don't. But Sears almost set a record last night.
And how many? But how many were what? Just really, they were. I can't kill BYU. They were just extended threes. I mean, they weren't like where nobody's in sight, and they just it was just. I thought Alabama was really, really good. BYU's not good defensively. Alabama's not good defensively. How many easy buckets did BYU get?
A lot.
How many layups did they get?
A lot. They run a pick and roll game. I love watching their pick and roll game. They do a great job with that because they don't hit a ton of threes. For a team that scores as many points as they do, BYU doesn't make an outlandish amount of threes.
They shoot a lot, though.
But they don't make their 3-point. I guess I'm comparing them to Alabama. Nobody makes a bunch compared to Alabama, but. They just don't make as many threes for as many points as they score.
Made threes per game. Where do those teams rank, Max? Made threes per game.
I will say Duke 5th in defensive rating per KenPom, BYU 82nd.
And come on.
The bottom of the ACC is.
Yeah. That looked like the fifth, 364 teams. The Duke looked like the 5th best defensive team. I mean, Arizona, they scored 93. I'm sorry.
I can't wait to see that game, Duke and Alabama.
Oh, this could be fun. Both teams score 100.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a great game to watch. Sears last night, the number of threes, he was out of his mind. Was one off the record by Jeff Fryer off that famous Marymount team. 11 threes. He made 11 threes in that tournament game against Michigan.
Michigan, yeah, where they scored like 130.
I think it was 145. It was like 145, 110, or 145, 115, something like that. He made 11. Sears was one off of that last night, but
threes,
he was unreal.
Max.
Alabama 11th in the country at 10.6. BYU 15th. Duke is 19th.
I didn't realize that BYU was that high.
Charlie, it's 364 teams at 15.
That's really good.
They shoot a lot.
That's really good. They made 6 out of 30 last night. I guess.
Well, what is their 3-point percentage ranking? I don't know, but and like the game against Arizona at home, man, they missed so many. Clean, wide open threes. They were just off, and this is when you're so dependent on three. Can you survive? Well, Alabama can't. If they shot that percentage last night, as much as they beat BYU, I don't know if they win.
No, they can't shoot 20% and win against anybody that's any good.
Well, just where they shot 50% last night, they made 25.
25 out of 51.
So 20%
right
would be 10. That's, I mean, do the math, Mike from Blackman. That's 45 points right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Bama Duke total 173.5.
Okay, that's a little bit
for
of
the Elite Eight game.
That's
Our buddies,
4 down from.
The ones that shoot out the numbers that we look at on Sunday morning for college football, they were 12 points short of that when they opened it last night.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was
all 4 overs, by the way, yesterday.
Yeah, all 4 overs. 2-2 on the chalk with Arizona with the back door. Hey, it's a bad beat. Ain't a bad beat that you couldn't have hedged. You had Arkansas money line. It's a bad beat. It's not a bad beat you couldn't have hedged / middle. And if you do middle last night on Texas Tech, and I mean, I don't know. I know the money line, but at what? They had to be catching.
I got 12.5.
12 and a half.
I got 12.5.
12.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
And what? I mean, and Texas
what
Tech.
Was the score at that point? Like 50.
They were down 16. Texas Tech.
So you got it at the maximum point.
Yeah.
But how many chances? You got 12 and a half. Where did? I mean, you had a million chances between that. So you hit the middle last night because if you have Arkansas plus the points, Arkansas, money line, you max. I mean, you got to max out.
The rationale, Jimmy. Texas Tech was getting plenty of open looks from 3. They were 3 of 24. They finished the game 8 of 32, which is still bad, but they finished 6 of 8 from 3 after starting 3 of 24.
I just missed shot after shot after shot. I mean, you could see that.
How much is on Coach Cal?
That's what I want to talk about when we come back.
Okay.
Because there were multiple spots in this game where you're like, okay, Arkansas is all right. They're going to win. I thought 18 different times. Arkansas is fine. They're going to win. And I'll explain why I thought that when we come back in the second segment.
Max, we talk about betting philosophies all the time, and things change, and things are fluid, and things change with sports. Things change with situations. Everything, there's so many different factors. But, and maybe I'm a little bit on the extreme side of hedge middling. Fine. You're not hedge middling in college basketball, bro. You're just leaving 3 you're leaving 3 clubs at home, Max, because you have to use all the tools that that you have available to you. I mean, this wasn't always available. It's new for people. What it is, I'll tell you this. You got your bet. Just do 10% once you get a 4-point middle. Once you get a 4-point middle, 10%. It'll teach you how it works. Trust me, I have spoon-fed my colleague over here. I know he's new at the sports gambling, but, we have spoon-fed him, and you're getting the hang of it. You even gets me. Wait a minute. Ellis, you can't keep shooting like this. Huh? Huh? Right?
I would
I'm throwing
it's got to be really obvious for me to take advantage of it.
I would just say live betting too, Jimmy, because I was on Texas Tech pregame, so I didn't even middle this. I had Texas Tech minus 5.5. I was more. You would almost.
But the live betting is how you do all this.
Betting.
I mean, the live betting is, and listen, there's a little bit more juice in live betting to protect the house. We get that, and there's some that wait, they're anticipating some of the middles that are coming in. Okay, and so sometimes when there's no reason this shouldn't get. College basketball, they take their foot off the gas, they waste possessions and running clock. They just do. There's a lot of things in the variance. It's not you're not scoring about intervals of 7. It's falls right. There's no bad numbers. Is what I'm saying. There's no bad numbers. We're live here at Ruffino's. It's a Lenten season. We always have a bunch of fresh fish and great seafood items that are on our regular menu. But here are some of the ones on our specialty for today and throughout the weekend on our specials menu. Crispy fried Gulf shrimp, sweet and spicy chili glaze. We call it angry shrimp, Charlie. And the crawfish boudin egg rolls. House-made crawfish and pork boudin stuffed egg rolls with the Nam Jim Jaw dipping sauce. You got that? Nam Jim Jaw.
I'm a cheerful guy, and I can have angry shrimp.
The Lenten thing's not your thing. We got lamb chops over here. New Zealand lamb, Harissa's roasted baby carrots, fennel cream with spiced pistachios. Suggested wine pairing is the Archery Summit Pinot Noir out of Willamette Valley. Seafood, stuffed redfish. Stay away, Charlie. We don't need you blowing up like a blowfish. And Dewey Velate. Got to get that France down, right? Max? Huh?
Yeah,
there you go.
South of France.
Yes, it's suggested wine there is a Péjus Chardonnay out of Napa Valley. So there are our features for the weekend, all throughout the weekend. But keep in mind, if you are doing the Catholic thing, practicing, really sacrificing on a Friday in Lent and having to eat seafood in South Louisiana, we have plenty of seafood items over here on our menu.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, LouisianaSports.net, 1045ESPN.com. Handycast up on YouTube. LSU baseball oriented with Doug Thompson and Dan Canterbury. All right, the game.
Did they win?
Yes, they won. They came from behind to win.
Did they beat the spread?
No, not the 3.5 runs spread.
What am I asking?
LSU.
LSU
baseball.
8-6.
8-6. Yeah, they were laying 3.5 runs. Anderson did not have his best outing, but Cowan certainly did. Don't
give free passes.
Walks are bad.
Yeah.
We throw more strikes. Cowan throws a lot of strikes. All right. Arkansas's game is the one that.
What is the game of the night?
Everybody is talking about. All right, so I had Arkansas in the game. We had our excerpts. Well, in our excerpts, picked Arkansas. Matt Humans had Arkansas.
Did Massaro have them?
Chris Massaro had he didn't pick that game actually.
Okay.
He had Duke though. And Kenny White had Arkansas yesterday also. So we had some heat on Arkansas. I liked them.
Was the money line pregame?
The money line, it was 5.5. I don't remember what the money line was. I did not take the money line. I took them with the 5. I bought the.
I know. I'm just asking.
I bought the half a point to 6.
Good for you.
All the times I thought Arkansas had this game, the 7-point lead at the half, that pretty much held halfway through the second half. And they go on a flurry. I'm sorry. What was it? What was the money line?
About 200.
Okay,
plus 200.
Plus 200.
Times I thought that Arkansas had the game in hand. From the 14-minute mark to the 10-minute mark, they took a 7-point lead and they doubled it. Okay, actually they more than doubled it. They were up 16 at the 10-minute mark. Ooh. They come out of the 8-minute timeout. They're up 11. They're fine, no problem. They get to the under 4 media timeout, which didn't happen until 3:21. They're up 8. With the basketball, I'm fine. You were asking me about Midland or I said, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I was fine until I wasn't fine.
10%.
And I wasn't. But okay. You're up 8 points with the basketball. You shoot a 3 with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Okay, you miss. You give Texas Tech.
It was a good look.
It was a good look. Okay,
good shooter.
You tell me. Brazil's a 36%. Okay,
he's fine. He's got a clean look. He's fine.
Yeah. Well, he missed it, and Texas Tech comes down to get a layup. So now it's a 6-point game. You get an offensive rebound off in the next possession. You shoot with 24 seconds left on the shot clock. Another 3, and you miss that one. Texas Tech comes back down, and they make a shot. Even at that point, okay, you've missed 2 opportunities to at least take some time off of the clock with a 3-possession and then a 2-possession advantage, possession game. They hit a 3 with a minute 28 to go. They go up 6 points. I feel like I'm still okay. No problem. Texas Tech comes down and misses. Arkansas gets the rebound. At that point, with a minute 15 to go, they've got a 6-point lead and the basketball.
No, you got to take at least 15 before you get into your offense, and then because it's a fine line, and this is the most misplayed, mismanaged part of the game, where teams go into running clock way too early, and teams don't do it, but still you have to. You don't want to run where you just give up possession. We don't want to just hand you the ball. Yeah. Here, 30 seconds, you got the ball. No, but you don't want to just rush a shot. So run 15, and then if you get a shot from 1 to 10, you got to live with it. But you're looking for a quality shot and not just handing the ball over. And handing the ball over is we see some of these ridiculous shots that have no shot.
Yeah.
They're just thrown up. You even saw the Pacers blow it. The Pacers had to throw up a double pump jump shot that draw new iron. It's just a shot clock violation. When the Lakers had 10 seconds to go with a 1 point game, what are you doing? So, what did they do here?
So that's 4 different scenarios where I thought they had it. They get the offensive. They get the rebound at 72-66. So they've got a 2-possession lead and the basketball, and Darian Williams knocked it away for Texas Tech, and they get a steal out of it.
Well.
And then there's a kind of a little scrum. The ball squirts out. It goes to Anderson. He makes the 3, and now it's a 3-point game with a minute to go. And now you're in a fight. But
and it was never where they had to foul in Arkansas missed free throws for Texas Tech to get back into it.
They didn't have to foul. They did foul.
Not John L. Davis, I'm sure.
No, they fouled Jonas. Yeah, Adu, and he missed the front end. Okay, of a 1-and-1. Now,
that's smart.
That was with 27, but it wasn't. They would have had to shoot. The shot clock would have ran out, so they could have played defense. They fouled him. It was fine because he's not a good free throw shooter. He's a 63% free throw shooter. He misses the front end.
That was under 29, I think.
27 seconds.
But how does John L. Davis not have the ball in his hands at that point? He's got 30 to begin with. Yeah. He's your best free throw shooter at 87%. The only ones he misses when Calipari tells him to, up 3 with just seconds to go in the SEC tournament.
I'm sorry, the shot clock was off at that point. They missed a shot with 29 seconds.
You've got John L. Davis who's been through this, who's been part of Final Four. He's your guy. He's 87%.
That's not the guy you want with
He's got to have the
ball in his hands.
Yes.
Well, it was foul immediately on the rebound.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Right.
As I remember, it was a foul right on the rebound.
My bad.
2 seconds.
Okay.
If he makes the shot, if he makes one free throw, it's a 2-possession game. He misses. So now Texas Tech's got the ball. Shot clock's off. They're down 3. They get the shot off with 9 seconds to go. Max, you asked me in the break, would I have fouled if I'm Arkansas with a 3-point lead? Not with 9 seconds to go. With 6 seconds to go or 5 seconds to go, that's different. But I've heard enough coaches say, I'm going to foul and not give them a 3-point shot 7 seconds or under. Maybe they should have fouled at that point, put them on the line with 9 seconds to go. Jimmy, what do you think? You got a 3-point lead. They got the basketball. There's 9 seconds. The possession started with 25 seconds to go. So what do you do? At what point do you foul to not give them a 3-point shot?
Then. Right there.
At 9?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I've seen, and it's all, if it's practice, it's, different teams execute it. And the biggest thing that they fear is you foul it, but they get off a 3. I mean, it can even be in the backcourt. Yeah, but I've seen teams do it where, and also they have to have good free throw shooting, which Arkansas does, okay? Their starting 5, Charlie, shot 18 for 20. 18 for 20. Adu was 0 for 1. So they're 18 of 19, the guys you want to have the ball, including John L. Davis, who is 11 for 11. Okay? My point is, that's the other side of it. You can't just have poor free throw shooting and then them cut into your lead, and then all of a sudden they're down. But I've seen them do it like 3 different times. You execute it. They make their free throws, you make yours. It rolls down again. I've seen it done with as much as 30 to 40 seconds. 9 seconds, 100%, yes.
The shot went up at 12 seconds.
He made it with the ball through the net at 9 seconds to go. Okay. And so you still got a chance to win the game. You've got the last shot. You got the last shot.
Out of timeout.
Yeah.
How many times with it tied because you're prioritizing? That's the last possession of the game. It is a compromised shot.
This one wasn't.
That little floater on the right baseline being heavily.
No, I'm talking about the 3 that tied the game.
No. I'm talking about when it's tied, the last possession. That was a compromise. That was a tough shot.
Step back.
That wasn't a good shot.
No, the step back was in overtime, at the end of overtime.
True.
That's right. This was the kind of a runner, baseline. Guys, all in you. Right. It's a hard just to get it over.
He's almost behind the backboard.
It's a tough
that was a
shot.
very tough shot. They didn't get a good shot there. They didn't get a good shot at the end of overtime either. And Williams, who had made 1 3-pointer the entire game, buries the shot. I can't completely kill Calipari and say, man, this is all on him. But, boy, there were so many opportunities where you think, gosh, if they'd have done that just a little bit different, I'm sure, Cal's probably saying the same thing. That game was there for Arkansas to win a dozen times in the last 8 minutes, and Texas Tech made just enough plays to get there and get it to overtime and win the game, which was also a back and forth affair. Arkansas got really good shots in the overtime. I mean, they got shots in the paint in the overtime, right up until the last possession where, and I have no problem with Cal not calling timeout for the last possession. A lot of coaches vary on that. Some do, some don't. If you like Bobby Knight never call timeout. I have no problem with that.
It's pretty much split.
Yeah.
It's philosophical, and he's got, the strength of their team is their guards, and so he trusts their guards, to make good decisions in that spot. At least they got a shot off, instead of doing. It wasn't a great shot, but I mean, it's going to be compromised when you're talking. It's either going to be deeper than you want because you're making sure you get before you get into your penetration, something like that, or it's going to be like rarely did you just get a real clean shot late in the shot clock, and while not allowing, just like Arizona did. I mean, come on, Love. I mean, Love was great last night. Love's a talent. He's an NBA player, going to play in the NBA for a long time. You can't take that shot with 8 seconds to go. I mean, 9 seconds. What are you doing? You can't do that. I mean, that spark just kind of. Who's going to argue was that not the key sequence of the game? I mean, it's tied. Boom, you go into with 20 seconds later, you go into the locker room, 6 points. But Calipari, of all people, though, Charlie, he lost the national championship because of this.
That was,
and then when it's executed, and he's got his. You just don't put the ball in Adu's hands. The rest of your starting five is 18 for 19 from the free throw line.
But Adu got a rebound there.
It was immediate.
No,
foul.
I'm talking about which we're going to foul with 9 seconds. They make their 2, then we get it in one. We just make sure we got to make our free throws to keep it on 3, and we foul again. And so you got 4 guys. You get the ball. They collectively are shooting 18 of 19, including. I'll tell you what. Again, at the end of the Ole Miss game. It was Ole Miss at Arkansas played in the or South Carolina, Arkansas. John L. Davis had it in his hands, huh? So he has plays to get in his hands. The only way John L. Davis missed a free throw was because we was coached to miss. But they have ways to get him in his hands. I mean, he's 11 for 11. Use him. So that's the point why you foul to you. Because you don't want to wait till 7 seconds. Well, no. When you got a guy shoots free throws like that, a team that shoots free throws like that, you're going to get them, and you can keep fouling over and over. So that's that's the thing that was he lost. Mario Chalmers. Oh, it was a tough shot. Well, yes, they make tough shots at the end of regulation. Cost him a national championship when he was at Memphis against Kansas. Oh.
I can't hear Mario Chalmers' name without thinking about that Saturday Night Live skit.
Mario Chalmers. He shouldn't even be anywhere near a basketball. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service, which you get every time you dial 296-0060. Our great staff at Legacy Title, Ashley Bynum Donald, Mariana Broussard-Haynes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, and Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Troy, how you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm doing good. Just getting my energy back from a long night, a fun night of hoops. But just keep going, and hopefully we get another slate of good games.
All right, we'll get to that a little bit because I think we differ on opinions as far as Cinderella and how the mid majors are moving forward. We touched on it a little bit last week. We'll touch on it again. But you're near the Maryland area, and was this just the much deeper team at about midway point, just really getting into and the more talented team as well, Florida? Or, I mean, there's a lot of people making a big deal, certainly from your area, the Maryland fans, about the distractions of Willard and his flirtations with Nova.
Yeah, I don't think it was a distraction. The one thing that has changed with NIL and the transfer portal with thousands of players now is that, everyone's aware that like most of the teams are going to be different next year. So there's less, hiding. We saw what Will Wade did, where he was announced to going, before the tournament started. And listen, a lot of his players were seniors, and a lot of his guys are going to be on different teams next year, maybe in NC State. That's the same way with Maryland. A lot of seniors, guys will enter the portal. Obviously, Derek Queen's going to go to the NBA draft most likely. So I think, it wasn't like they weren't concerned that Kevin Willard is going to abandon them or anything like that. I think they realize this is the nature of the industry now, the teams aren't going to be like this a lot. So they just kept playing for today. And I think really ultimately what it was that Florida's a better team. You get into game 3s, game 4s with a 5-6 guy rotation that Maryland plays, where you really relying on 1 to 2 players to do a heavy bulk of the lifting, even though all their starters score. Games get tight, you go to 1 or 2 guys. There's a lot of tired legs on that team. I think that's what happened. However, that being said, I did think that, I thought they were going to lose, and I figured maybe more than the line. So I actually took the alt line on Florida, -11, that hit. And, I was a little nervous at halftime, but once the game kind of got away from them, I'm very proud of myself for thinking that, if they lose, it's not going to be as close because I think they will run out of gas. And once they realize the game is over or they're going to lose, they're not going to fight as much. Maybe that's where the kind of distraction came in.
Troy mentioned Will Wade. I mean, look at it from, it drew some criticism at first, but from his players, from the athletic director to the school president to even if is this like the poster child? Have you ever seen something more supportive when you lost your coach like this? And then they also came out like banshees. I mean, they were freaking so impressive against Clemson. They didn't look exactly distracted.
No, the whole thing is unique from how he handled it, the school handled it, the fan base handled it, his incoming employer handled it. No, I've never. These breakups are almost always messy. This one wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't.
If you get guys like Pat Forty and Dick Vitale to flip on you, who just killed you, and who hasn't killed him, But I mean, they have really. So. All right, we're on the same page with that. The Alabama show us that they're capable of beating Duke.
I think so. They scored upwards of 100 points, right? You're going to have to do that to keep up with Duke. Let's be real. They were lights out from shooting the three ball. They have been in years past. When they made the Final Four, they were one of the best, if not the best, 3-point shooting team in the country. They haven't been as good this season, but last night was the game. The game that really reminded them that, yes, they like to shoot the three. They tend to take some good three-pointers, unlike a team like Illinois that is taking lots of three-pointers. They'll advise one. They take good three-pointers. They take lots of them, and they were making them. Can they do that against Duke? Duke's got a lot of size, a lot of length. That is a concern, but the pace of play is going to be crazy. I think the line on this game is 174. One of the highest over-unders of the entire tournament. So hopefully we get, an NBA score from that game. That's what I would anticipate.
Lisa Notterlocks, I said I expect 200. You got 201. Get some right sometime. But anyway, Charlie.
Can you get closer to the hole in there?
But it's Alabama. This is 8 games in the tournament the last 2 years. And keep in mind, the one they lost last year, they gave UConn all they can handle from a point. My philosophy about them, away from home. Don't they seem comfortable on this?
Yeah, because
they know what style they're playing.
They never stop shooting. Yeah, they don't adjust for anything. I'm really surprised this line's as high as it is. Not the total, the
line itself.
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to get Duke action? Everybody. Troy, how much?
Just in the last hour, it's going up another point.
How much? Really?
7.5.
Oh gosh. Troy, how much Duke action did y'all take last night?
Massive. And a ton on the spread, but that obviously didn't hit. We actually took a huge live. I think it was a live bet, or it was just alt line bet on Duke -5.5, which hit obviously shorter odds. But Duke, as you'd expect, is the most public team in dominant efforts. They're going to continue to be an incredibly public team. I agree. I think 7 right now is too many points for an Alabama team that can keep themselves in the game. Certainly, they can shoot themselves out of games. but they also are just a really talented team. They have the level of talent to match up with Duke, which is not a lot of teams can say.
Where did Arkansas go wrong last night? How much on the bench? Anything specifically that you point to that we broke it down? We're interested with your input.
Yeah, this has been kind of the MO of John Calipari at Arkansas is a lot of playing with his food. We've seen some wonky end-of-game scenarios. No lead is safe. Obviously, playing in the SEC, you're playing a lot of caliber teams. But I've seen, his teams at Arkansas this season, blow some leads. Now, in the NCAA tournament, I saw this crazy stat. When John Calipari teams have a lead of 6 or more points in the NCAA tournament, he's 35-0. It's happened 35 times, and every time they're having a lead of 6 points or more in the NCAA tournament, they've won. And last night they led by as many as 11 points, I think. But Texas Tech is sturdy of a team in the country. They have been. That's been their MO all the way back to when Chris Beard was there. And they have a star in Toppin. So I think he picked up his pace down the stretch, and I think it was just they were a bit too loose. They didn't hit all the shots they needed down the stretch. DJ Wagner, you got to feel sorry for him. He played his heart out in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game and then overtime. But this was a game that I think Texas Tech was the right team to make a comeback, just because Arkansas has been very talented but very inconsistent, and the athleticism and the length isn't enough to withstand a comeback from a team that doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
16 was the biggest lead, about 10 minutes to go in the game for Arkansas last night. Troy, if you think that, you had in-game opportunities last night at as much as plus 1,100 for Texas Tech to come back and win the game. To tonight's games, and let's start off with Ole Miss and Michigan State. And this line was 2.5 for a big while in the week. And I mention that because in the last 10 years, a 2 seed has been a favorite of 3 or less 5 times. Lost 4 of the 5. So what they're doing is the odds makers are giving respect to the hotter team, the lower seeded team. Chris Beard has 2 of those wins, Charlie, 2 of those 4 against the 2 seeds. Now, I don't know, Max, you give me a clarification. Does this still count because it's down to over 3? It was bet 3.5. Now at Bet Rivers, it's up to 4 with Sparty, who's covered 11 of 12, 12 of 13. Max, give me a clarification. Does this one fall into that criteria?
I'm going to say no because I'm a Sparty fan. I'm wearing green today, so I'm going to say it does not apply.
The line. I mean the 3 or less as a 2 seed.
Right, so it's not 3 or less.
Well, why does that have to do with you when you damn green?
Because I want Sparty to win, so I'm going to say it does not apply because I don't want that trend to apply tonight.
Okay, no, I'm saying, but does it fall into that statistic because it opened at 2.5, but it's closing at 4? We usually go with closing.
Typically,
line.
it's closing, so
right.
I would say no.
Yeah. Okay,
but I'm also wishfully thinking
it's not all about you, Max. This guy is self-centered son of a gun. You know him.
Izzo, it's March still.
How you see it, Troy? They're going to bet. They are betting them. It went for 2.5. Yeah. It's up to 4. That's a significant line movement when you get this deep into the season.
Yeah, 81% of the money is on Michigan State to cover. And the next one is Michigan plus 9 at 65%. So you're talking 80%, which is pretty staggering. And it's the early game, I believe, today. So it's not like there's you'd see that at this point in the day if it was the 10 p.m. game, but not the early game. The public is all over Michigan State. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, it's Izzo. His team has been very good the last month of the season and into the tournament. And, we spent a lot of energy getting caught up on the SEC. That's for people outside of the South. There are a lot of teams you need to focus on. Ole Miss is a team that slipped through the cracks in terms of not a lot of people have a beat on Ole Miss. Even though they have a very good head coach, this is Ole Miss and Mississippi State to me are the 2 teams where I think of all the teams, maybe also LSU, no offense, the teams I paid the least amount of attention to in the SEC this year, just because those 2 teams are always in 6th, 7th place once the season really got up and running, and there's just so many other good teams. I don't think there's any respect to Ole Miss. If they had another coach, I think there'd be even less respect. Chris Beard's tournament resume certainly speaks for itself, and I think that's why I could see Ole Miss winning. But obviously, Sparty is the pick here from the public. I think Michigan State covers. But the one I'm actually all over is unders. I just blind take Michigan State unders unless it's something stupid like 127. It's 144.5 They're one of the 5 best unders teams in the country. They play a super slow pace. And, you know, I don't know if Ole Miss is going to get up and down and be able to, you know, make a lot of shots against a Michigan State team that wants to bleed out the clock. So I love the under here.
Yeah, it's exactly 10 of 11 straight up in against the spread for Michigan State. The only one they lost was a couple Saturdays ago when Channel 9, our local CBS affiliate, was telling us the weather was bad, but I didn't know what the hell was going on when Indiana was. I can look outside and tell the weather's bad. I understand that. Give me at least a split screen.
Ole Miss shot against Iowa State 58% from the floor and 58% from three. They can't possibly do that.
I know, but
again.
Charlie, even North Carolina, they shot much better, and that was a story. Yeah. Could they duplicate it? And they did it better. So, I mean, maybe even they can. But this hot shooting in the 2 games of the NCAA tournament has been at a significant higher level than what we've seen for most of the season. Can they maintain it?
They lost to Auburn by 5 in the SEC tournament. That was it was a low-scoring game. I think it was like 62-57 or something like that. If they, my money's on Sparty tonight. If they shoot 58% and they win the game, God bless. I'll tip my hat to Chris Beard, but I'm going to have to see them do
it. Where's the rest of the we're running up against Tom here, Troy, but the other 3 games.
Money, we got Michigan plus 9 is 65%. That's the second strongest play. Houston minus 8.5. And then Kentucky plus 4.5 is the 4th strongest spread play by money. And it's similar. Kentucky 4.5, 67% of the tickets. Then Michigan plus 9 at 65% of the tickets. Michigan State minus 3.5, or I guess 4 now, is at 51%. And Houston minus 8 is at 61%. And the one I'm on is Michigan plus 9. I've been less and less impressed with Auburn this tournament. They obviously entered the tournament losing 3 or 4. Michigan is playing excellent basketball, and I think they have the size and the bodies to at least keep it close with Auburn, although I do think Auburn is, minus 455 money line favorite for a reason.
Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macker. That's a lifetime review unit, and also alert you if you got a part or 2 that is about to fail and really put you in a bind in the middle of the summer when we really start stressing these units. Tell them you heard it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Normally $179. It's just $79. That's the one-time AC visit and an AC check from Total Maintenance. We are Total Maintenance, 480-1000, 480-1000.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU women's basketball tonight in the Sweet 16 in Spokane. They are a 3.5-point favorite over North Carolina State, a team they beat by 17 in the regular season, but that game was way back in November in the Bahamas. So very, very different teams right now. The LSU women's basketball team, a lower seed at 3 versus 2, but they are a favorite at 3.5 points. Bruce Marshall with us when we come back here at the top of the hour from Rufino's live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget our off-the-menu specials for this weekend over here at Rufino's. The Angry Shrimp, crispy fried Gulf shrimp with a sweet and spicy chili glaze. Crawfish boudin egg rolls, the house-made crawfish and pork boudin stuffed egg rolls with a Nam Jim Jaw dipping sauce. The entree features a lamb chops, New Zealand lamb chops, and the seafood stuffed red fish here at Rufino's. It's a Friday during Lent. Of course, these and plenty other seafood options on our menu. Bruce Marshall joined us from Las Vegas talking March Madness. Bruce, how you doing?
Well, I've had better weeks, but not too bad. You put one of these braces on your leg and everybody starts being nice to you. So maybe I'll keep it on even after I'm healed.
So after you recover, just keep it around the house. When you're a little bit down, put it on while you go around town, and you're kind of a Larry David guy. You get special treatment, Huh?
Yeah, I can't believe it. Even my wife's nice to me. That's weird.
Well, oh man. Arkansas blow it last night. Calipari blow it, or just a great comeback, kind of out of nowhere about Texas Tech, a good team.
Yeah, Jamie, a little bit of everything. One real quick about Arkansas. I was worried about them because they had tendency to go on these droughts scoring. We saw that in the South Carolina game at Columbia last month, even the first round of the tournament, SEC against South Carolina in the second half. And those last 4.5 minutes, they just, they needed an extra bucket, needed a free throw or two, and they just couldn't get it. They should have had that thing salted away. Overarching comment, though, not as much last night, but about the tournament in general here now. Listen, as an old referee myself, I'm very loath to criticize the officiating, but I am really getting tired of what I'm seeing in the tournament here, especially late in the games, these continual stoppages of play to get the clock right on every out of bounds, every possession. This forensic refereeing has destroyed the flow of the game. And it's not just in the tournament. We saw this in the regular season, too, and I've heard other people say it. They're just trying to fine-tune this thing too much, and they're taking too much time. They get VAR done with quicker in soccer in Europe than they do with these reviews that these officials are doing. And, oh, by the way, why aren't they calling some of this stuff? Why aren't they calling Trey Donaldson carrying over every single time he bounces the ball? Why weren't they calling Derek Queen taking 3-4 steps in his winning bucket for Maryland last Sunday against Colorado State? I know no referees in the country would call it, but darn it, you're supposed to call that. Why are they letting Darian Williams for Texas Tech hook with his off arm every single time he backs down? I've counted 30 of those the last 2 Texas Tech games. He hasn't been called once on it. What are they looking at? And instead they're calling these ticky-tack fouls. And, I hate to sound like Dan Hurley now, but I'm getting a little tired of watching this stuff. Having said that, give Texas Tech credit for hanging in there last night and finding a way to win the game. But this is going to stick with Arkansas for a while because they had that in the back pocket there, and I was looking forward to using them again on Saturday. Now I have to kind of recalculate. They did end up covering the point spread last night, but darn, they should have won that game.
There were 2 hook and pulls, just on the officiating, and we don't have to go too far. 2 hook and pulls in Arizona-Duke that were identical. And the one against Arizona was called a flagrant one, and the one against Duke was called a common foul. And they were the same play, 3 minutes apart. They were the same play. That one, it didn't end up affecting the
play more enforced
against Duke.
No, in Duke's favor.
In Duke's favor. Yeah. That's never happened before. Duke's never gotten a call. These were identical calls, and one's a flagrant. If it's against Arizona, it's a flagrant one. Max is shaking his head. You remember the sequence,
to
right?
Gene Sarator's credit, he was critical of the one that wasn't called.
Yeah, even Sarator was like, "What are you doing?"
Skeletor. There we go.
Skeletor. Yeah.
But Bruce, I think common sense will actually prevail here, because the ones that get me now. Listen, it's just the way it is. In the last 2 minutes, that ball's out of bounds, and it's technical. Even if one guy maybe forced it and it went off, the guy's hand, it was last touched. Those things. Video can show us what we can't see in real time sometimes, and that's going to be there. A coach is going to, but the stoppages and reviews where neither coach, where neither fan base, and nobody at home has a problem with the call on the court. Nobody. That's. What are we doing? So you got to leave it up to, if somebody feels they're shortchanged, they can do it. I've heard that the proposal is you miss, you lose a timeout. You're out of timeouts, it's a technical. If you're wrong. So,
go to the NBA system. You get one challenge, and that's it. And if you get it right, you get another one, that's it. And then that's all. You won. Tell me where you decide that this is the most important part of the game. Use your challenge. Other than that, let's play ball.
But you talk about the last 2 minutes, just one, or for the whole game?
Whole game.
The whole game.
Yeah, one challenge.
Well, the flow of the game is sacrosanct. I think it really should be, and I can't believe that. And you're right; they should move more to the NBA model with this stuff. They have to, because I don't know anybody who watches the stuff that likes it, but. And especially since the deliberations take so long, get a video referee who can make a quicker determination on this stuff.
Bruce, they didn't they didn't just start doing this in a tournament, as you pointed out.
Well, I know.
Okay,
I know.
But let me. What I'm asking you, when did this start? Because this seems like over the course of the season, I've been talking about this for months. When exactly did this start? Where there's on the average 5, 6 reviews in the last 2 minutes on the average. When did it start? A year, 2, 3? I mean, why not just notice this till this year?
I think, within the last 2 years for sure. I mean, it started all blending together for me. But I was yelling about this stuff back in January, too. I couldn't stand watching some of these games, the way they did it. And it's just the deliberative process. Referees together just don't often agree on too much. If they're going to do this, they need a special video ref just to look at it really quick. Do it like soccer. Make the VAR real quick ruling on it. They don't need to be 3 minutes looking at this stuff for a tenth of a second here or there. It just doesn't make sense.
And some things are really quick and obvious and why they take so long. But, okay, you're an official. You did not officiate during this era. But if you're official, and I got to believe, for the first 38 minutes, you don't have that replay. You have not every official's wrong, but damn it, every one of them is just not. They know it. They're not going to blow they're just not officiating with the same focus because they got the replay, and they're going to review it anyway. So it's a different level of attentiveness, of focus. Don't you think?
That might be true. Yeah, I think that's probably true, and I'm not sure that's a good thing.
No, I'm not saying it's good, but it's happening everywhere. I mean, it is.
It is happening everywhere. I mean, when I used to do this, we had 2-man crews. I still think we can get by with a 2-man crew. 3-man crews are overkill. One thing about refs, you got to remember, they don't want one ref calling all the fouls. These guys have egos too, and they'll start whistling if they see one. If one ref gets carried away, the other one says, "I don't want him making all the calls. I got to make some." There's a very, very funny dynamic between referees, and I hate to harp on that so much, but they're just too involved in some of these games lately. And I could have said that any time in the last 20 years, I guess, but I'm really seeing it the last couple months.
What's your Let's go tonight. Who's your favorite plays in tonight's matchups?
I think Houston tonight had that scare against Gonzaga late, though they were kind of in control of that game, and then let it get kind of close. I wonder about the matchups here for Purdue, and I saw enough times this year. I know Lawyer and Smith. I mean, they're sort of the engine room. I know Kaufman-Renn down low is good, but I mean they really sink or swim on these guys shooting the 3 balls out there, and I am just not sure these guys are going to get that free tonight against this Houston defense, which is very, very jarring. And I saw that a few times with Purdue this year when they had their Auburn game was won back in December. They just couldn't get these guys free, and everything sort of fell apart. There was one other thing I like about Houston this year, which is really different from recent Houston teams. They entered tonight as the top 3-point shooting accuracy team in the country. I mean, they're about 40. That's crazy. They were about 40% this year. I mean, they've been consistently about 34% the last several years. All of a sudden, this team's got a sharper edge, and I wondered if they were going to be able to replace Jamal Shedo. I thought it was a great all-around player, and we see him with the Raptors now doing fine. But he's found guy. He's got his top 3 scorers are all shooting better than 43% beyond the arc. Cryer, Sharp, Uzan. So I mean they can hurt you different ways than past Houston teams couldn't, and I think Purdue's in trouble tonight.
Yeah, they that's 40% as a team, and the 3 guards all shoot 40% or higher. I'm trying to see where they rank though in made threes per game. So it's got to be they're 121 in made threes per game. So they're being selective, but they're not a volume 3-point shooting team as we saw some of the others. What about the coaching matchup? Boy, it's a great coaching matchup. Michigan State has become public, but there's a reason they're covering, and it's not close. They've covered 10 of 11. Just the Wisconsin game in the semifinals in the Big Ten tournament. But here is Chris Beard, and he has pulled these type of upsets in this deep in the tournament before.
It was close against New Mexico the other day, and they did have some close point spread decisions down the stretch, but it is 10 of 11. Now Izzo. Oh, I know we love Izzo, and he's doing one of his better jobs in a long time here. But I think it's worth pointing out, in the last 10 years, Michigan State has advanced past the Sweet 16 just once, and that was in 2019. They got all the way to the Final Four. What happened there? They ran into Texas Tech, coached by Chris Beard, and Texas Tech won. So interesting there. This Michigan State is better than I thought it was going to be. I think Izzo's ability to use his bench and to rotate and these combinations, he figured out really early in the season what he could do. And the fact Richardson turned into such an electric playmaker for him, that really, as opposed to the last couple of Michigan State teams, that is sort of the difference. But I'll tell you, Ole Miss, something about that dismantling of Iowa State the other day. I fully respect Beard. I think he's got a shot here. Padula, great ad in the portal. We talked about that last week. But some of these other guys have been there for a long time. I mean, Morrell, he was there when Archie Manning was at Ole Miss, I think. They got a lot of experience on that team, and he's got balance too. He's got 6 double-digit scores. They can attack from the perimeter. They play downhill. And I think their quickness, I think Ole Miss is going to get them tonight. I think Beard's got something here, and I was so impressed with the Iowa State game, and enough with them during the season where I think they can rise up and do it.
All right, Chris Beard has done it against Izzo before. We will see that line is up to 4 at some places. Like we said at Bet Rivers, it's 3.5 at the Queen, the DraftKings outlet here in town. And now our Elite Eight matchups, and we were whining. We didn't have as much Cinderella effect on this tournament the first 2 days, but we got some great matchups deep into the tournament. You got a couple tomorrow and some pretty big spreads. First of all, Florida is 6.5 against Texas Tech. Texas Tech still without McMillan. He did not play last night, and at this point, even if he does, he's got to have a minimal impact. We saw Thiero try and give it a run for Arkansas last night, 5 minutes, 1 point. So he was, and that was his first game back from a layoff. But Florida, did they get their scare against UConn? They looked good last night.
They sure did, Jimmy. By the way, one more tonight. I think I'd take Michigan plus the points. That 11 straight wins in games decided by 4 or fewer, and they don't call Trey Donaldson, who's facing his old team tonight. They don't call him carrying the ball over. I think Michigan kind of hangs around against Auburn tonight. Now, for Saturday, we will see here. Texas Tech, they were dead in the water in that game, and they have done some funky things with their three-point shooting in this tournament. The first game against Wilmington, they shot way too many. They shot 46 triples in that game. Shot selection was bad. They didn't hit very many at all. And in the second round, they really dialed that back against Drake. But that's been inconsistent. McMillan's absence is not necessarily a plus. I could see them falling behind again. And like you said, Florida maybe got that scare out of its way against UConn. And that in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, they were ahead a little more comfortably. 2 point at the end. Carabin hit that 3 at the buzzer, and that game was close until about 2.5 minutes left. But Florida put on a spurt, and they kind of got control of that game at the end, more than that score indicated here. I think with Clayton and the rest of these guys, they go at such a speed, and they play at such a pace. I think Texas Tech's going to have trouble keeping up. You know what? We might see an all-SEC Final Four, and to do that, we need Florida to win here, and I think that's going to happen. And I think they cover out in San Francisco.
All right. Charlie, it's funny how last year Alabama ran with UConn. They didn't back down. What do you think the final score was? UConn won by 14. And Bama
91-77?
86-72. That's the reason I'm bringing it up, because that would be disappointing, huh? With the pace of these two teams right now. 158 is usually a high number. In that game last year, it was 48-47 about 4 minutes in to the second half before UConn. Well, UConn beat the heck out of everybody, but still Bama certainly gave them their toughest catch. It was also 55-54 with 13 minutes to go. It was tied with 12 minutes to go. So this thing was in doubt midway through the second half. But Alabama here against Duke, and the reason I bring up because Duke is the betting public, the favorite to win it all. They have been for a little time since Auburn slipped up the last couple of games in the regular season and also in the semifinals in the SEC tournament. And Duke did not. But Bruce, boy, no, they won't make 25. They might shoot 50 again though from 3-point range.
51 3-pointers last night. Can you believe that? And they made 25. I mean that. They had broken Loyola Marymount's record for made threes, which had stood for 35 years, with 7 minutes to go in the game. They had already cracked that 21 that was the previous record. So, I mean, I couldn't tell which game I was watching last night. Was it the Alabama game or was it the Pacers and the Wizards? I mean, it was just up and down the court, back and forth. Alabama can play that way. BYU, of course, they love to play that way. Highest scoring team in the country. BYU went right at them last night. I mean, it's not Duke's. Duke, I think, will dial it back a little bit, but I mean, Duke likes to score points too. Alabama is, if Sears has games like he had last night, they're going to be very hard to beat. But I also think, since they moved Youngblood into the starting lineup, and he has had games like he had last night too, you can't just focus everything on Sears. They're going to try the same thing tomorrow, and I think they got a shot to make it work. And Bama just draws you into these sorts of games, and nobody gets up and down the court like they do. If they hit another 25 threes, they're going to win. I don't think they're going to do that, but you could still win by hitting less than that. And I've said all along, I don't think Duke's going to win the national title, and I think maybe this is their Waterloo. Yeah. Bama.
Well, we're waiting for that youth to take effect, but probably the youngest guy on the roster, he shows no signs of inexperienced decision-making. I mean, listen, there's no – but Cooper Flagg is such a high basketball IQ. He is, I'm a Duke hater. We used to get shoved, but damn, he is – I can't look at one sequence last night where he said, man, that was not the right decision. Now, he may have shot up, he clanged 1-3 kind of early in the shot. Everybody misses shots, okay? But man, when he takes it off, and as a facilitator, he just really, it's pretty damn impressive,
He's
man.
barely 18.
I know.
He is barely 18.
So I said, when Alabama last night had us talking about, before the game, we're talking about Marymount. This total was the highest since we've seen at that point. I said we might get 200. They got 201. I said, Marymount, I think they scored 130 back in the game. Charlie said it might have been 140. Bruce, Bruce probably.
I'm going to say 145, 118.
149, 119.
I was close, yeah.
115, Brucey.
149, 115. You're right.
Get off the meds, yeah. Bruce. You can only remember 149, 119.
I know.
I remember Jeff Fryer hit 11 threes.
I knew Bruce would remember. 149 against, at that time, the defending champions, the Michigan Wolverines.
Do you remember where they played that game?
Long Beach?
Long Beach Arena. My old home arena.
That had to be a little bit of a home court advantage in those first two games against New Mexico State and Michigan, huh?
Oh, yeah. And, there's all that emotion after the gather stuff. But, yes, Loyola's just right up the freeway. Yep.
Yeah. LSU's never had those type of home court advantages in any time from 1986.
That's Gene Katie.
Gene Katie rule. Bruce, is Cinderella dead before we let you go? Listen, Sears from Ohio, Nelson from North Dakota State, Clayton from Iona, Broome from Morehead State. I mean, we know it's more difficult, but is it dead moving forward?
I'm worried about that because I don't think anybody who ascends to star status at a mid-major now is probably not going to stay more than that year. They're in the portal if they don't go into the NBA. And we're seeing that now. I mean, most of the, star mid-majors are moving on. Now, sometimes their coaches go, and they follow them, like, Bennett Sturtz has fallen McCollum to Iowa and things like that. But, I I also noticed the other day the top 11 guys in the portal as of the other day, 247 Sports, 5 of them came from the Mountain West, mid-major league. I mean, you don't see them leaving the SEC and the Big Ten. You do see them leaving leagues like the Mountain West.
Very good, Brucey. We'll talk later, man. Good luck this weekend. Thank you, buddy. Heal up, man. Heal up, but don't lose that brace. Don't throw it away. You got to use that thing. Okay, man. Thank you, Bruce. Okay. Don't forget our friends over at Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, just off of Nicholson. It's my routine back in it this weekend, hitting the Queen on the way home. Hit Los Reyes, watch the games, happy hour, 2:30 to 6:30, 7 days a week. Burritos, tacos, I mean, you name it, and the best fresh guacamole anywhere around. Friendly staff, as always. We'll have to see if Miss Blair recovered from her Mardi Gras injury and is back behind the bar. So it's always good, huh, Joe? Mardi Gras injuries. So ankle.
Careful the slippery floor.
Yes, the slippery street. Yeah. So, of course, Kyle and Scott, managing, doing a great job over there. Tell them you heard it right here at 104.5 ESPN. You're playing travel ball down the street. Hey, bring the whole team. Call us ahead of time so we can have your 12 top, 18 top, 20 top, the whole team. Have it ready for you so you can get in and out a little bit more easily. And when you get your bill, you don't get that sticker shock. Yes, indeed, Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, across from Mike Anderson's.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Thibodeau's store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux. Time to get the yard and the garden, the flower beds in shape here as we're at the beginning part of spring. Simple programs, the 4 steps from Scott's on special right now on the website. doitbest.com/Thibodeau store. Wagons, wheelbarrows, seeders, spreaders, all of your potting soil is on special right now. All your garden tools, your hoses, all of that is on special right now at the website. Some of these items are available for free delivery. Also, their Cajun cooking specialty, cookware shipped right to your door. Again, doitbest.com/Thibodeau store. From the Big Green Egg cookers all the way down to your Cajun cookware that can be shipped immediately to you. Commercial fishermen, you headed down to the coast, tons of fishing gear at the Thibodeau store. Custom Cypress furniture, crawfish pots, jambalaya pots. They've got it all at the Thibodeau store. Again, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, and online it's doitbest.com/Thibodeau store.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And today's show also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. Can come to retirement. No two situations are alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors work with you to set out a lifetime goal. Doesn't matter what your age is or what your income level is. They'll work out a plan tailor-made for you and your family. That's what they did for us in the Hanegrove household, and they can help you too. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376. Online, coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. LSU gets a win against Mississippi State in the opener last night, 8-6, a game that LSU fell behind. Story of the game for me was twofold. Number one is the first time that Cade Anderson has struggled. I thought that he really was having a tough time locating his pitches early. It looked an awful lot like Chase Shores' start against Texas last Sunday, in that Anderson was getting outs, but he was having to work like nobody's business to get them. 101 pitches through only 4 innings. It took him, I think it was 29 pitches to get through the first inning, so he was not sharp. Was that a result of throwing his routine off just by a day? Certainly, you go on 5 days rest, on the 6th day. That's not an egregious workload, but it does force you to make just a little bit of an adjustment for the first time. Was it that, or was it something else? That's for Jay Johnson and Nate Yeske to decide, because they got to do this 3 more times in Southeastern Conference play. Different coaches do it differently, and it just depends on how you feel about your pitchers. They decided to throw Anderson on Thursday. Mississippi State decided to hold their Friday night guy, Pico Cone, for Friday. We've seen this in the past with Aaron Nola. We saw it with Alex Lang. Will they decide to go with Anderson on Thursdays? And, again, they got to do this 3 more times. So was it because of the routine thrown off, or was it just because, hey, you were due an outing where you weren't quite as sharp? The second part of it was Zach Cowan. and Cowan threw 4 shutout innings. He didn't walk anybody. He struck out 7, and he only gave up 1 hit. For LSU, who could not hang a 0 through the first 5 innings, Cowan was a breath of fresh air. The question at this point is, LSU's won 5 SEC games. Cowan has pitched in 4 of them. In 10 1/3 innings, he's only given up 4 hits and a walk, and he struck out 17. Let me repeat that, okay? They've won 5 games in Southeastern Conference play. He's pitched in 4 of them. He can pitch twice in a weekend. He can pitch extended outings. He can go through the lineup more than once. His ERA is about 1 even. He doesn't walk anybody. His mechanics are about as repeatable as it gets. So the temptation is going to be, and the question needs to be asked, do you move Zach Cowan into your starting rotation? This guy was a Friday night guy for Wofford last year. He had an extended workload. He had over 110 innings. He knows what it's like to go out there as a weekend starter. For the moment, I wouldn't. I understand why the question is being asked, and it's a good question to ask. I wouldn't, for 2 big reasons. Number one, Cowan can affect multiple games on a weekend. Again, he's had a hand in 80% of LSU's wins so far through 2 series and change. So if I can use him to pitch in 2 games, which he did in the Missouri series, and I can affect 2 games with him, he seems to be able to bounce back pretty easily. And again, he doesn't walk anybody. So that would be my first reason. The second reason is I don't want to take Chase Shores out of the rotation right now, because more than anything, Chase Shores needs to pitch. Again, this is the first year off the Tommy John surgery. I know we're sitting at 23 months now, but Shores has only thrown 7 2/3 innings in Southeastern Conference play. He's only thrown 27 innings overall. He's still thrown less than 50 innings in college. And to get where they need to go, they're going to need Chase Shores. And I just don't think that right now, I may feel differently 3 or 4 weeks from now. Right now, I don't feel like Shores going to less work out of the bullpen than more work in the starting rotation is what's going to get him right. Think back to Thatcher Hurd 2 years ago. Hurd struggled well into April. It was his first year off of the Tommy John surgery. I think Shores needs to pitch. And if you bring him out of the rotation now and you pitch him 2-3 innings on the weekend, I think it doesn't get him where he needs to go. He has 2 or 3 more rough outings. We'll revisit it then. But for now, I think Shores needs to pitch. So I'm going to leave Cowan where he is for right now. That could change, obviously, as they move along. Offensively, LSU had to get the opener out of the game, Ciari. They did that. Another double steal last night, Max. Another double steal. They get the run out of that. They had to appeal the decision at the plate. They had to overturn it. I thought he was out watching it live, and so did the umpire. Looking at it on the replay, they got it right. Yeah. They also had another squeeze play last night. That one they did get thrown out of the plate. They reviewed that one. They upheld the call that time. It was also
not
close.
Not a fully squeezed, too, because he didn't run immediately on the pitch.
It wasn't a suicide squeeze.
Yeah.
It was a safety.
Yeah.
But pitcher made a nice play on the ball and made a nice shovel to the plate. They get him there. The bats finally got going for good in the 5th. The home back-to-back walks, you're asking for trouble right there for your Mississippi State.
But that's what a guy like Curiel does. He makes you pitch around him a little bit.
Correct. He even had he strikes out so infrequently. He had 2 strikeouts last night. I think it's the first time he struck out 2 times in the game. He took a called third on a pitch to split the plate in half. You don't see that very much, but he was working after that. Then they walk Jones, and Dickinson puts one in the bleachers, and you start to get the offense going at that point. And then Milam's home run gave them the lead. They got the insurance run on a couple of wild pitches in the 8th inning. Good come-from-behind win. Your ace isn't sharp. You got to use up your best bullpen guy. 59 pitches he's done for the weekend, I would imagine. But in other games, I think in the Missouri series, he threw about 60 pitches total. And so for right now, if I can use him for 30 pitches on Friday and 30 pitches on Sunday, especially it's because it allows Shores to pitch, that's what I want to do. that could change in a couple of weeks. So LSU wins the first game of the series. They are favorites in this game tonight against Mississippi State. They probably shouldn't be. Pico Cone is a 3.75 ERA in Southeastern Conference play through 6 shutout innings at Oklahoma last week. He did battle through his start at Texas. He was okay. He wasn't great. But last week he beat a first-round pick at Oklahoma. LSU's throwing Anthony Ianson, whose ERA is 9 in 2 Southeastern Conference starts so far. Ianson doesn't walk very many guys, but he does give up some hits. Would love to see him battle his way into the 5th inning tonight. And then you got Kason Evans, who has proved that he can get them multiple times. Well, I say multiple times. He can go through the order more than once. You can get him up. They've dialed him up now to 50, 60 pitches. So you could get, if you can get him into the 5th, get Pico Cone out of the game. I like LSU on the back end of this game, but the starting pitching definitely favors Mississippi State tonight.
Did you say you think Mississippi State should be favored? All right.
Tonight? I do.
Oh, they're plus 300.
I know. I do.
Queen right now.
I do.
So that's LSU's minus 450?
Minus 425. 3.5 runs you can catch as well.
I understand that LSU is the home team. I understand they are 5-2, and State is 1-6.
Better hitting.
I'm the pitching matchup favors Mississippi. It doesn't mean LSU can't win. It's a baseball game, okay? But the pitching matchup favors Mississippi State. It just does. The numbers are there. Cone has been better than Ianson by a significant amount.
One thing, Ianson doesn't walk a whole lot of guys, does sometimes get caught, in the middle of the plate a little bit. We were going to see a little bit of a wind blowing out to left field, so be careful. It's not the diamond deck, is it? What's in left field? The left field landing.
Yeah.
Watch out left field landing. We might see some balls there.
And I don't want to make out Cone to be Roger Clemens or anything like that. He's just a good pitcher, okay? His numbers are better than Ianson so far. Get him out of the game, I'll feel a lot better about it. Second game at the box tonight, LSU and Mississippi State.
At United Community Bank, your business is our business. We support the hardworking folks behind local business.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Today's show also brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff done a fantastic job for our family. Back pain, neck pain, things that are keeping you from moving around as well as you'd like, or maybe prevent you from getting a good night's sleep. Let them get into a program that's going to target those problem areas and get you to feeling better. Whether their exercise and stretching programs will work, you need an adjustment, or dry needling, cryotherapy, ultrasound, or electric nerve stimulation. They're going to figure out what is going to make you feel better, and they're going to get to you, because that's what they've done for us. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla, Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. When to fire a coach in any sport, really? Well, you get a lot of different opinions, a lot of different philosophies. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on this. It just kind of caught my attention because the Memphis Grizzlies fired Taylor Jenkins, who probably nobody cares about. And I'm not, into the Grizzlies and all that.
Well, that's up for no opinion. That's strictly their star player. I mean, that's that league. It doesn't matter if 5 games in, 5 games up, 5 games out. I mean, that star player, what's about? He's done.
You're 73 games into an 82-game season. You're in 5th place, and you're a game and a half out of 3rd place, which is a home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs.
Charlie, this just ends. Ja Morant's full of bad decisions.
Well, I get it, but
it's a stars league. This is different from like firing in like the colleges where you have an administration. This is totally different. This is a star-run league.
This goes all the way. This all the way back into the 70s. Okay,
yeah.
NBA players, and you could even make we've seen teams make the finals. I mean the Lakers fired Paul Westphal after
You've seen the coaches
finals,
of the year, coach of the year fired the next.
Yes,
multiple times.
I've even seen in hockey a team win the Stanley Cup and fire the coach.
So why are you bringing? I thought you were talking about maybe the college
9
stuff,
games.
The NBA. This shouldn't surprise. I mean, come on. At this point,
no 9 games.
I'm sorry, weak commissioner. Okay, you run a bum like Sterling off. You're great. You're applauded. That's it. He is nothing surprised me in this league. Whether you blow a 25-point lead with 4 minutes to go or you fire the coach, 9 games in, 9 games away.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but there's 9 games to go before the playoffs. I mean, aren't you pot committed with what you got right now? And this is a hell of a time to be experimenting with a team that can actually advance in the playoffs.
Are you surprised Ja Morant has done some of the things he's done?
Not anymore, no.
This is the guy.
Coming out of Murray State, he was thought this was the underdog story, right? This was the guy they discovered in the
gym.
Had
a lot of people
stayed at Murray State.
And I'm going to tell you what, he did one down at the Blender where he came through the lane. Max, I don't know if you saw this one, but he got up and it was a missed dunk, and he kind of launched up, kind of like that Jordan lean. Yeah. You know, he's leaning in as he's gliding there, and Charlie almost like mid-flight, he kind of like shifted up.
Yeah.
It was one of the, we want to go and see things we can't do when we go watch these games. Charlie, it was one of the most impressive athletic things. I mean, all he's got to do is shut up and play. He can't do it. Here's another case. He is full of bad decisions, and a lot of NBA players are full of bad decisions. Yeah, you're scratching your head. You can't believe it. Please pay attention. It's the NBA.
No, I get
it's like when a wide receiver does something stupid.
But there's a grown up in the room somewhere that owns the team and says, "Look, we'll fire him after the
owners
season."
Don't run the league.
Well, they run their teams, or they should.
And they don't.
You tell after the season.
You think the owner was? This was initiated by the? Of course not. Of course
no, I know where it's coming from, and I'm not going to pretend that I know about Taylor Jenkins' coaching philosophy or anything.
He's been out. I'm happy. The Rockets are up 3.5 games now in the division, and they own the tiebreaker. How do they only play 3 games against division rivals in the regular season?
Talk to your friend, the commissioner. I'm just saying, with 9 games.
No, that's fine with me. I got the tiebreaker.
You're kind of what you are, and you go into the playoffs and you do what you can. I don't think you experiment now, but I don't own the Memphis Grizzlies. So.
I thought you were going to try and talk about was Villanova a better job than Maryland.
We're still having that discussion. I think it's still up for debate. I mean,
if there are, with their 2 national championships, did they get some boosters along the way? I got another question: are they going to have a salary cap for the overall college spending? Is that what they're trying to get to?
They have a revenue sharing cap. They don't have an NIL cap.
Okay,
you have a revenue sharing cap. It gets approved next month, right at $20.5 million.
So you have a cap. In theory, can a Villanova who doesn't have a football team to pay, can they outspend an SEC program or a Big Ten, Maryland?
If you took more of your percentage, the SEC programs are probably going to spend about 75% of their revenue sharing on football. So if you want to spend,
this is Big Ten versus Big East.
If you want to spend more than $15 million, then you could.
So in theory, it's possible to have more of a player budget at Villanova than Maryland.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we know the average. Yeah. The Big East and the Big Ten. No, it doesn't. They offered him to make him top 10 highest paid coach. Yeah. So, something is. He still hasn't taken it yet. But
he's sitting there after the game going. I thought he laid it out very plain last night. I don't know who my boss is. My boss is going to SMU. So,
okay. The guy that hired him's leaving. Okay. Very.
He'd be hired by somebody who he'd be holding to at.
He said, "I want to know." He said, "In the press, I want to know who my boss is."
See, boy, SMU's coming, huh?
Got plenty of money.
You go get ACC. How bad's the ACC hurting right now?
Bad.
They're hurting.
Yeah.
SMU's in the ACC. They're going to plug the Big Ten's AD. That ain't happening. Wake Forest is not going to get Michigan's AD.
No, SMU is a special case when it comes to money.
No. We all on the same page there.
Ja Morant last played 2 weeks ago today. Yeah. They've lost 4 of 5.
He's been being GM the last 2 weeks. And that time to play.
Nothing surprises me in that
9
league.
games
We got
left,
picks when we come back. Picks at tonight's game. I think Charlie and I may differ on 1 or 2. But we'll come back and give you those picks when we wrap it up. Live at lunch, live at Ruffino's. Lock of the week.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Jimmy, I'm on Sparty, Kentucky, Michigan, and Houston tonight.
I'm with you on Kentucky. I don't think it's just, that they shot better in those two games in Tennessee. The quality of shots in those two games, it's a good matchup for Kentucky, in my opinion. They're able to defend it. Their quality of shots are better than Tennessee's. I'm with you on Michigan. I think Auburn, it's a lot of points against the team. I'm against you. I got Beard. It's +4 at Bet Rivers. I'm stuck on Purdue, Houston. Kind of tempted to go back on Houston. They should have won by double digits against Gonzaga. Got sloppy late. Gonzaga is better than Purdue.
Thanks for the folks here at Rufino's. Monday, we're at the Queen. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.